How's that for some gentle music on your Friday morning? I mean, just sliding gently into the podcast there.
Perfect. Way to wrap it up before Christmas.
There we go. So it's some hard rock Christmas music there. So, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of 49 Volts. I'm your host, Josh, and we have a really awesome guest that I'm very excited to have. We have Lindsay Martin-Nez from BadgePass, the CEO of BadgePass. Lindsay, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
So for those in the audience that maybe are not in the security industry and maybe aren't as familiar, what is a quick, brief intro to BadgePass and what you do there?
Absolutely. So we're a software development company, and we really focus on designing software that enables organizations to recognize and connect people. So basically, our goal is to build the best badging platform that there is out there, whether you're looking to issue physical badges or virtual badges.
Awesome. And BadgePass has been around for a few years, right? This is not a brand new company. You've been out there.
No, yeah, we've actually been around since the 70s, believe it or not always as BadgePass, but we started as a systems integrator and, sold other photo ID products and access control products back in the day, and then thought to ourselves, we could do this differently and better. And so we started writing our own software in early 2000s, and BadgePass really became a company around 2010, which is right around the same time that I joined the team.
Oh, that's great. See, I didn't know that part of the story. So
I know. So we're like a sleeper agent in the security industry, I like to call us. So some people know us and some people don't, but I would say that we're getting our name out there a little bit more recently.
Oh, I think so. And yeah, so also you're an author. I mean, you have the book that came out. I'll be honest with you, it's been on my list to read it, and it's been kind of a crazy year. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I mean, have you always wanted to be an author? I mean, what inspired you to write the book?
Yeah, so I love to read, first and foremost. I think I'm at 108 books for 2024 right now.
Oh, wow.
But I read a lot of fiction, to be fair, not always business books. But when I was thinking about, how do we communicate who BadgePass is to people and help people understand what it's like to work with us, especially as we're looking for new channel partners and new manufacturers to partner with, I was like, well, we have so many good stories. And I feel like once you know us, you're like, man, those people are awesome and they're so fun to work with. I wish we had worked with them sooner. And so I thought, what if I just compiled a bunch of the stories about kind of, my history and my career, but really intermingled with a bunch of stories about what makes BadgePass cool and what we're like to work with. And that was really kind of the vision behind it, was to just tell some good stories about who we are. And the goal is for you to kind of get a feel for what we're like as a company. And obviously what I'm like is it's told from my perspective, but it's an easy read. There's even pictures in it. So it shouldn't take very long to get the pictures. Really make every book an easier read, in my opinion.
Yeah, pictures are the easiest words to read.
That's right. That's right.
That got me through school. They just made pictures for me. No, that's really great. So something that helped us connect here recently was I've been commenting on some posts that I've really enjoyed, the Snoop on a Stoop post.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your marketing in general, I've noticed as you've really kind of come into my attention over the last year or two. I mean, you seem like you're a little different than the others. You're not as buttoned up, a lot more personality, a lot more fun. People that know me realize I don't pass as very professional. I tend to try to be a bit of a misfit and try to have fun and be myself. I mean, I really love that all of your marketing has that vibe. I think that Snoop, those Snoop posts really kind of tap into that. There he is.
I brought him. He's got.
Now you touched him. Does that mean there's no presents for Christmas? Did we bring you Christmas?
Snoop's magical all the time. You can touch him. You can touch him. It's not like Elf on the Shelf.
It would make sense that the rules are different for him, and you can hang out.
It certainly would. Yes,
I totally get that. So I mean, what is it? I mean, is that intentional? Is that just natural about the company itself and the people that are there? I mean,
yeah, I think it's both. I think it's natural and intentional. So I joke about the security industry a lot. I mean, I've spent my whole career in it. So I was 22. I mean, I've been a part of the security industry forever. And I always remember, I actually wrote about it in my book, my first time at ISC West and feeling like, why is it so many middle-aged men in blazers? no offense to the security industry, but that's the vibe, right? And so like that buttoned up, like blazer suit kind of vibe was so prevalent. I feel like we're evolving as an industry and certainly be a little bit less buttoned up, but it was never really like who we were at BadgePass. And I think that we just try to be a little bit more authentic to who we are. We try to have a lot of fun. I think fun is kind of like a cornerstone of our company and how we work with people. And I think partnering with us is fun and working here should be fun. And we were driving to our year-end exec planning meeting and we were joking about Snoop on the Stoop in the car. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to order that. And so I bought one on the drive down and I brought it in when we got back and the marketing team just like lit up. They're like, you're joking. And I'm like, no, we can totally do this. And they're like, can he keep the blunt in his mouth? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess if it's going to be Snoop on the Stoop, we probably should make it authentic. Yeah, it's fine. I was like, I don't think people will associate that with us as much as the fun that we're having. So anyway, that's it. It's kind of how that started. And really just from a marketing perspective, I like to let that team have fun and come up with creative things. We had a little marketing war battle, if you will, earlier this year with wavelengths that got some attention in the industry because we were obviously on the physical badge side and they were on the mobile credential space and took kind of a hard stance and kind of poked some fun at each other. And I think that's cool. I mean, that's more exciting to people than the standard, hey, our card opens a door, or like, look at this reader. Isn't this cool? From a marketing perspective. So I'd rather be unique in that sense.
Yeah, and I think it can go too far, maybe, but not that I've seen anybody here do. I mean, I think it's great to push the boundaries a little bit, but I think it comes back to that like authenticity. People feel that's way more sincere when you're just kind of being yourself, having fun. Also, people enjoy having fun and laughing and smiling and enjoying themselves. So I think it's maybe a little easier to connect. I mean, I'm surprised more brands don't take that approach, but I wonder, I mean, you mentioned kind of the people that look like me in suits. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, that is still, even as much as the industry, I think, has done better over the last 10 years or so. I mean, it's still a majority. It is still that. I mean, so there's that aspect. But do you also think, because, and I ask this question a lot because I'm in marketing and I'm always trying to have more fun and to be more real and be more approachable. Do you think that part of it is because in the security industry, by nature of what everybody does, that part of it is sort of like a risk averse or risk mitigation type of an approach? Because what you just mentioned, what you described there, was your marketing team saying, well, what about the blunt? Or what about this? And do you think that maybe just that risk avoidance mindset, causes us to be a little more boring?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you think about it, you're talking about a lot of big companies. And we're lucky because we're smaller and nimble, so we can, do that and make mistakes. And there's no shareholders getting, upset about any decisions that we make there. So some of that flexibility that we have is great. I do think you're right. I mean, when you think about security, it's the industry as a whole. I mean, we're talking about protecting people and keeping them safe. And then you tie that to having fun, and somehow that feels weird or like taboo to people. But I don't think that having fun has to just be like, I mean, the Snoop on the Stoop thing is funny, but that's not obviously like corporate marketing as much as that's more about like what we just are as a company from a cultural perspective. But even marketing, like when you're marketing your products, I think can still be fun, like edgy and tacky and like new. It doesn't have to be that same like old school blue and gray color scheme, or, it can be more high energy. And it could be because I came from marketing. So like I ran sales and marketing here. That's like my whole career. Marketing's just really special to me. And so that also could be some of it. If you've got a leader of your organization that comes from like finance, they may be a little bit tighter on the how much fun we have on the marketing team.
Yeah.
But I mean, with you being from marketing too, I think that's, probably why you see it this way.
Yeah. And that must have something to do with our shirts. We mentioned earlier, we're all matching.
Look at us.
Yes. No, I like that. I mean, do you also think that there's any component of, I noticed like, well, first, I just spent several years with a company based in Indiana, and I think we had a different kind of a vibe and a feel and an approach that I identified with as an Ohioan. I felt like they were just a cornfield away. We all had a very similar kind of approach and how we treat people and how we communicate. And I think it leads to maybe a certain kind of a vibe. A lot of the companies that are out there in the manufacturer space, of course, are like in LA or Seattle or Utah, Denver, Austin, New York, and you're in Mississippi. So, I mean, do you think that also contributes to like maybe having a different type of a personality and a flavor to the people that are in the company and how you handle marketing and your branding?
Yeah, I've never thought about the Mississippi thing as it relates to marketing. I'm from Buffalo, New York originally, but which is why I sound the least Southern of most of the people on our team. But I love that we're from Mississippi. I do think that it has its challenges for sure, but it definitely gives you a different voice when you meet someone and they're like, "Oh, software company, like where are y'all based out of?" You're like, "Jackson, Mississippi." And they're like, "Really? I've never been there." They're like, "Yeah, well, like really? Are you sure that that's where you're from?" I'm like, "No, I'm pretty positive." But yeah, I think that you could be right there. I mean, the South in general has a very different vibe than California or the Northeast or that might be. And so our team members, therefore, that are from this area all kind of have that more relaxed, fun, laid back kind of attitude.
Yeah. I mean, that's the experience I always have. I like traveling, in the southern states, and then, we go to South Carolina every year. We'd love to have a home there or maybe live there someday. But I've never been to Mississippi, but I mean, I always like the vibe down south. And it's just like you said, I mean, everybody's a little more relaxed. They feel more authentic, very friendly, very helpful. I mean, it just seems like maybe that could be playing into your vibe a little bit too, in a good way.
Probably
You can't just say Buffalo. My sister went to med school up there. I mean, what part? Like Cheektowaga? Like where were you? Orchard Park?
Yeah, I grew up in Clarence. So, but I know all of those towns.
Yes. Well,
and I do not miss the snow at all.
I used to cover that area as a salesperson. And yes, Buffalo gets a lot. I remember my sister getting snowed in one year. I mean, even talking to customers about if you don't knock the snow down, you're going to, it's going to cave in your roof when you get into the feet.
It's not for the faint heart.
Erie is worse. I mean, people think of Buffalo as worse. Erie's pretty bad. I think Erie gets more.
Yeah, that whole Southtown area down over into Erie, PA. I mean, it's not good. Like, I failed for them. But you know what? The best part of Buffalo, I mean, they have good people too. But man, do I miss some good chicken wings. Like, you just can't get good wings.
So you went to the original Anchor Bar downtown? Was that the spot, or where was your wing place?
That's not my spot. This is a hot topic in Buffalo, but
you're right.
I would say I'm a Duff's girl over Anchor Bar.
Okay.
I order Duff's like usually once or twice a year. We'll have it shipped to Mississippi because I'll get a craving for it.
So all my friends in Buffalo just started clapping. You passed the test. Now we know that you are native, because that's what everybody there always tells me. Anchor Bar, that's too corporate. You want to go to Duff's.
Yeah, Duff's is the best.
Awesome. I love that. Well, now that you live down there, now you look like you're a healthy person, so you probably don't do what I do and eat the fast food in various places. But I mean, I love Whataburger, but I also love Cookout, and you have both in Mississippi, and I'm quite jealous. What's your preference?
That's so funny. So you're gonna hate me when I say this. I've never eaten at either one of those.
I knew you were going to say that.
So I have a gluten allergy, so sometimes I'm weird about food, okay. But even my daughter, even like my kids and stuff, they're big Chick-fil-A fans. So we're doing if we're doing fast food, we're doing a lot of Chick-fil-A and Chipotle and stuff like that. So I'm sorry to let you down on this.
That's all right. No, I'm just jealous. I mean, I wish I had those things nearby. I mean, it's probably better I don't. People don't realize this. I'm actually 17 years old. It's just because of my diet. I look like I'm 46.
That's funny.
So one thing that I was kind of curious about, I mean, where does BadgePass see its success most often? I mean, do you have more of an approach where you're working with channel partners like the integrators out there to kind of support them, work with them to get into the customers? I mean, is your marketing more focused on trying to develop opportunity for your channel partners? How do you go to market?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think that most manufacturers are kind of struggling with this crossroads, if you will, of what's our strategy and
Right.
how do we best support our channel partners, but also make sure that we're doing right by ourselves and like not just totally relying on channel partners. And so we have a good core group of channel partners we've worked with forever and adore them. And we really work hard to do the best we can to take unbelievable care of our channel partners. And we're constantly trying to grow that as we kind of grow our presence throughout the country. But I think it's got to be a hybrid approach. So we have a team that does business development and lead generation on behalf of channel partners. And we try to bring those opportunities to those partners as often as we can. Of course, the expectation would be that then they leave with BadgePass when we bring them into those projects. But I think that helps develop trust more than anything. And that kind of goes both ways. And so I think it's a mistake to, as a manufacturer, to just say like, oh, I'm going to sign up this partner and then they're responsible for everything. Well, no, like you got to earn trust with them and you've got to bring them into projects and have their back on projects and help them start to have success, because once they are having success with you, then naturally they're going to want to continue to do it the opposite way and bring you in and bring opportunities to the table, not expect you to always bring them to them. So I think it's a partnership. That's how we've always viewed it, not like a transaction. And I think when you think about it that way, you just approach it differently. Like you want to take good care of your partners and be the best partner backwards that you possibly can be. And too often, I think manufacturers just think of their integrator partners as like a means to an end or just like a transactional business relationship. Right. And that isn't really good for anybody in the long run.
Oh, I would completely agree. I mean, I think you need to be more in a partnership arrangement. I mean, especially your RSMs or whatever title you offer for your salespeople out in the field. I mean, having that relationship where they're more partnered, with those resellers, with those integrators that go out and put the product in. I mean, I think you're going to have more success that way. It's an interesting topic because, I was in cloud for 8 years trying to help cloud really gain a foothold in the industry. And it was interesting because, I would go out and I would talk to customers who would talk about a particular product that is out there that gets a lot of attention, often negative, but they've done really, really well and had great success. And they would say, I don't like the fact that they're marketing to the end users. I don't like the fact that they're calling on end users. I feel like they're taking too much control. I don't like it. It's not good. We really appreciate that you're more focused on us. That's great. And so we'll kind of shake on that and high five. Glad we get along. And then the next thing I would say is, but they give me a lot of leads. So are you going to give me a lot of leads? And I would say, well, you're kind of asking for no chickens on the farm, but where are the eggs? If you're not talking to end users, marketing to end users, I mean, that's kind of how they're cultivating that opportunity. And I think you need to have like the real partnership approach at the end of that. And I think that this company I'm thinking of has tried to make improvement there, but I don't know if they always understand that is necessary, for that business development and end user business development approach to be there. Otherwise, there's nothing to offer.
You're not wrong. And obviously I know who you're talking about. And I think that they get a bad rap for that unfairly, because really what they were doing is just trying to take a non-security mindset approach to the security industry and do something. Right. At the end of the day, if you develop a product, like you want customers to buy your product, you can't just write software for fun. Like It's a business, like not a nonprofit. I mean, you want to grow your company, right? Everyone wants that. And so to market it to customers and then get end user customers excited about it, that's the ultimate goal, right? And so it's unfair. It's a little bit unfair, I think, that
I agree
at the beginning, because they were just doing something different. And other people do this in other industries. And we were just kind of in our own way in this legacy mindset of like, oh, well, I am a integrator partner and therefore I own the customer. Like, no, you ultimately do. And that's the goal of the manufacturer, is for you to still own that relationship too. But customers also are changing the way they're buying, and they want direct relationships with manufacturers now. And they want to know that if they invest a bunch of money in a product, that they have access to understanding the future roadmap of that product and, what that looks like for them too. And so the integrators got to kind of change their mindset a little bit to adapt to that. And I think that some mix and combination of the two is where everybody's going to see the most success.
I agree. And by the way, it occurs to me that I don't work at Cumulex anymore, so I can say the word Verkada and nobody's going to really care. It doesn't mean anything. I think that there's kind of this concern that goes both ways for a customer. So the first is if they have a trusted integrator partner, they want to know that the product that the partner is suggesting is a good, solid product and it's going to be there and it's going to work. And, the same in reverse. I think that, often the integrator maybe doesn't want to think about the fact that they're also kind of evaluating, well, what happens if that integrator goes away? Because unfortunately that can happen. Or what happens if that relationship disintegrates? And that came up a lot with my last employer because of the way that it was deployed. That they were essentially in a way hosting that service for the customer and managing that. And oftentimes end users would say, okay, now that they've gone to the restroom, can we ask you a question? What happens if, what happens if we have a falling out with them? Or what happens if something happens and they're no longer in business, or maybe they're acquired, we don't fare well with who acquired them. Can you still support us? Can you get us to another partner? What's that going to look like? And I think it kind of speaks to, as the technology changes and as the customers are changing, I think that there are more concerns beyond just, who's going to come and wipe the dust off this box and perform updates. I mean, this technology is advanced. I think there's more to think about, especially as these solutions that are cloud-based can manage many, many sites, globally, not even just in a region. So I think that there's a lot of good that Verkada did, because I think what they showed is that if the channel is not ready for something and the end customers are, what they did by offering those leads is they went out and they kind of said, okay, we understand you don't know how to sell cloud, so we're not going to worry about selling it to you. We're going to get the customers out there to want it, and then we'll bring it to you. Right. And that's, I think, how a lot of these integrators made that leap into cloud, was because that opportunity was handed to them. So I would kind of agree. I think there's probably some good and bad in how it was handled, but I also think that they grew so fast because this worked so well. If you have 2,000 plus people in your sales department, you're going to have some bad apples, no matter what your intentions are at a corporate level. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, when you listen to them talk about why they did it and how they did it and how they're trying to improve it, like, I can't knock them at all for what they did. I mean, at the end of the day, like, everybody's got a company to run and you're trying to sell your product. Like, but I think that they're trying to do the right thing with their partners now. And I'm sure over time that'll continue to get better. So, and honestly, I mean, you're going to see other manufacturers do it. I mean, we try really hard to generate interest in with end users and try to drum up some leads. And of course, our intent is that we bring in a channel partner. But hopefully our partners know we're doing it with the best intent, because we want BadgePass out there. We want our customers to get to use that product and have a good experience with it.
I would agree. And I think just to add to that, I feel like for several years now, I've heard, Verkada this, Verkada that, and it's bad and it's wrong and that's never going to work and that's not how it is. And then, okay, how do we do what they're doing?
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah. How do we catch up to them? So, no, I mean, I think that's a healthy approach, is to say, okay, I think the world changes, the world evolves. I saw Lee Odeth had a post yesterday that actually, I tried to make a high school yearbook photo joke about his image there. It didn't land. I'm not getting any laughing emojis yet. So I don't know where you are, Vinny Bear, my friends. You need to come and laugh at my joke. But I think he was kind of alluding to the fact that, hey, as we move into the next year, we need to think differently and we need to understand how things are changing and try to work towards that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what do you typically look for then as you build your sales team? I mean, do you have like a mix of biz dev that goes out and focuses on the end user, and then you have the more traditional, channel account manager, regional sales manager that covers an area and they work together, or what's your approach?
Yeah, we kind of have a hybrid combination of that. So business development people that are responsible for lead gen, and of course a marketing team that's responsible for brand content and lead generation. And coordination of events and that sort of thing. So I really think of those as mostly your lead gen people. And then we have some people who are managing existing channel partners, and then people who are looking to grow new channel. And the interesting thing is a lot of it, I think, is personality and where you're the right fit. So like we're big believers in your personality driving your role and like what's the right fit for you. There's those different sales positions I just talked about are all different personality skill sets.
Uh-huh.
Managing a channel partner that is already doing business with you is much different than lead gen to end user customers, which is different than lead gen and business development with new channel partners who never worked with you, honestly. And we use a tool for personality profiling. We've used it for like 12 years here. We use it when we interview. More importantly, we use it when we manage. And so we use it as a strategy to understand, okay, if I'm going to have a tough conversation with this person, like what's their personality? Like, how are they going to react? How should I position this? Or annually, we try to have people retake the survey to see how they're behaving in their role and how that how that differs from their innate personality. We're like, do we have this person in the right spot? Or are we expecting like Lindsay to do Excel spreadsheets all day, every day? And she's like losing her mind because that's like the worst possible thing I could possibly be doing is doing something that detailed and focused 24/7. And so I think that that's been helpful as we even try to like grow the team and think about what roles work best. And I personally love that we do that.
Very cool.
Now I'm going to ask you to take it. I'm going to send you the survey. And
do it.
I'm going to send you your feedback results.
I love surveys. Do I get to make comments about Snoop?
Yeah, of course.
And say how wonderful. I really love, I mean, no one else that I have seen is using Snoop on a Stoop for their social media posts.
Well, he's going to go away after Christmas. Unfortunately, he has to go back to wherever it is that Snoop.
Yeah, I was going to say, where does he go back to?
I don't know.
Is it LA? Is he?
Maybe. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Lindsay, I really appreciate you coming on. I think BadgePass has a really exciting story. I just love the energy. I love the way that the vibe, that your organization puts out. Give a bunch of high fives to your marketing team for me. I love what they're doing. And I love the fact that you're a marketing pro yourself and kind of have that background. I think it really shows in the way you do things. So really means a lot that you came on. Just give you an opportunity here. Just tell everybody if they're interested in learning more about BadgePass, how do they reach out to your team there?
Absolutely. And there's so many ways you can connect with us. Of course, you can connect via our website, but we're super active on LinkedIn. I would say I am too. So if you're interested in connecting with me, I'd love to say hello. And you can also follow BadgePass for exciting Snoop on the Stoop content from now till the end of the year anyway. But in all honesty, that won't be our continued content after that. But really, we're having a lot of fun as a company and growing, and we're excited about what the future holds. And we're constantly looking for new people to work with. So if anybody's interested, we'd love to chat.
That sounds great. So for everybody else, thanks for watching, and hope you've had a great 2024. Wishing everybody a great 2025 and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you're into. And we will see you next year. All right. Bye.